Welcome to shoot number 3. If you survived shoot number 2, well done, because it was mind-numbingly boring, and I pity you. But anyway, apply those skills that you learnt, and I want you to do the same thing with this number 6 set of data here. It's pretty similar, but hopefully you've learnt it and you can manipulate it and, do a couple of formulas that will allow your data to be a bit more simple. The final one. This is probably the most complicated one we're going to do, so fair warning. Right, the last couple of charts that we've made have only ever had like 1 or 2 sets of data involved in them. What we want to do now is try and make a chart that has 3 sets of data. And this is really good for showing relationships in data. Previously, we've been looking at things like showing composition or distribution of data, or how data, we haven't really had any data changing over time. But what we're going to do now is show relationships between data, and that is usually done by having usually 2 or 3 data sets involved. And what we're going to do is use our data here, and you can see we've got our raw results entered down here. So this was a question that asked them what their average grades were, and then what music they listened to while they were studying. And then they were also asked if they had difficulty concentrating while they were studying. And so the people here who listen to pop music, this is the distribution of their data here. You can see that 6 of these people got 49 or below as a percentage, and you can see 4 people got 90 plus as a percentage. And then 11 of the people who were listening to pop music said they had difficulty concentrating, and 9 of them said they didn't. Okay, so this is our data here that has been put together. You would normally have to compile this yourself, but it's a cheat, so lucky you. So we need to simplify our data. What we're going to do is get an average of our scores for the people who like pop music, R&B, classical, epic, rock, rap, etc. And we're going to turn those into averages. So an average mark across the board. Then we're going to compare that to concentration. So we'll be comparing and seeing if there's a connection between difficulty concentrating, music type, and actual grades achieved. Okay, and to do this, we need to start our simplification. So how are we going to get an average grade? Well, this is why it's a good idea to keep your raw data, because this is going to be a bit hard to work out an average, but we've got all our raw entries here, which means it's nice and easy for us to make a nice average formula. So if we just go over here to one of these empty cells, equals average, open bracket, highlight all these figures that were entered here. This is all the individual participants' responses. Press equals, we can see here that pop has an average of 67.2 as a grade. Drag that down. And here we have our average marks for all, grades for all our different genres. I'm going to make the decimal points a little bit less crazy. And now what we need to do is concentration, turn that into a percentage. That's pretty easy to do. We did that before. So we're just going to do it up here. We're going to go equals that cell there, 11 divided by, open bracket, the combination of this and that. Close your bracket, press enter. When we get 0.55, drag that down, turn it into a percentage by pressing this button. And we just need to do the same thing here for the no column. That one divided by, open bracket, this one plus this one, close bracket. Drag that formula down, make it a percentage. Okay, and now we just need to move this up. So highlight this, press Ctrl X to cut, paste it, and now we are ready to start making our chart. Just realize we don't actually need the no percentage for our chart, so we might just remove that for now, or maybe just cut it and put it somewhere else for the time being. Probably a good idea to label it, so no percentage, and we'll just call this one yes percentage, otherwise it might get a bit confusing. This is average grade. I'm just going to call it av grade, because labeling stuff is smart. Put them next to each other. Actually highlight that again, press Ctrl X. This is just my OCD for you because I like having gaps between everything. and make sure you copy the headings, put them next to each other. The reason why you want to manipulate them so that they're all together like this, it makes it easy to select, and it also is easier for Excel to understand what you're trying to do. So it's a good idea to put them together like so. All right, highlight the data you want to use to create your chart. Insert recommended charts, choose the scatter chart here, and from here on we're going to do some modifications to our data. So here's our scatter chart, and the first things we'll do to make it a little bit easier to understand is to label our axes like so. So the percentage section here is the percentage of people who are distracted, who have trouble concentrating. So percentage of subjects or stakeholders who struggle to concentrate. And up here we have average grade. Right, let's just make those slightly bigger. So click on the title, increase to about 14, make that one 14 too. All right, and here we have our scatter chart. What's its title? So I say we call it the relationship between music preference and academic grades. Now we got our headings and our axes. We just need to make our data a little bit more obvious. So we can increase the dot size for one by clicking on the dots. If we double click on the chart first, we've got this pop-up on the side here. And if we click on the dots themselves, then go to marker, and then marker options, we can change the size or the type of dots. If we go down to built-in, we can change whatever kind of dot we want. We can even insert an image of our choice, which would be useful for infographics. But we're going to go with this dot for now. We're going to increase its size to 10, just so it's a little bit more obvious. And now our dots are a little bit clearer. What we're also going to do is cut out some of these empty rows so that our data can be spread a little bit more evenly across our table. And to do this, all you do is once again double click on your chart so this pop-up comes up. Let's move over here so you can see it. And then just on the drop down here, go to the vertical axis, this one here, and then click on this little picture of graphs, which is axis options. Then go to the drop down, and under bounds, this is where you can specify where your chart labels will start. You'll notice we have nothing under 50 as an average grade, so we're going to go up here and change this to 50. And if you click on your table, or your chart, sorry, you'll notice that that'll auto update, and that looks much better. What we should also do under vertical axis again, and under chart axis options, is make the maximum probably 100, just because it's usually good to see that that's the max that they can get. Most people find it easy to see that. What we're also going to do is get rid of, we could get rid of the start and end here, but once again, percentages are usually a bit clearer if you can see sort of start and end point. So we're actually going to add 100% in. So under here, go to horizontal, axis options again, and we're going to make that go to 1. That'll be 100%, like so. All right, now all we've got to do is label our dots, because at the moment they're a little bit hard to tell what's what. And to do this, you can do it manually by putting in a text box for each one if you wanted to do it manually. You could copy and paste this right now and put it into whatever image editing program you want and then just manually write them in. I would recommend probably color coordinating them. That makes more sense. Probably the easiest way to do that is to just click on one by itself, then click again so you can get it by yourself, and then just go up to this one here, which is fill, and just pick a color. I'm just going to go with red. I'm going to change this one to orange. All right, now that they've all got colors, I can now just assign a label to them. So I can go up here to legend, incorporate that in there, and then I could manually write down each one of these, what they're called. So it looks, I'll just make it a bit bigger, put that over like that, and then I could manually write these in like an image editing program, or I could use a text box. All right, just move it across so you can see your data sets here. This legend that has been put up here is actually in the same order as our data itself. So you can see here 55, 62, 22, 29, etc. It's in the same order as is displayed here. So that makes it nice and easy for us to put in labels and then say insert text box and just draw it here. We're going to go pop. Now we just make them a bit bigger. I think 14 or 16, maybe whatever fits really. Just drag it over like so. Probably make it a bit bigger or a bit smaller. I reckon 22 will do it. And there we go. Now we've got ourselves a bit of a label. We can get rid of the outside edge if we don't want to have an outline. No outline. And now we've labeled our chart. That's good to go. If you want to put this into another program to see what it looks like, or if you want to put it into an image editing program, all you got to do is select both of them and then press copy. Then if you went to Paint and pasted it, you can see that it's got our labels as well as our table. And then you just make it however you like. Okay, once you've made yourself a relationship table, save your work, and you can move on to the next task.